kind of want to touch on the sort of political, ideological eclecticism within AIM. Did AIM as an organization see itself as fighting against, sort of colonial relations and genocide, and also capitalism, or was capitalism not really a focal point because of this sort of political eclecticism and COINTELPRO infiltrations? Was it not really a focus for AIM?
I wouldn't say it was a focus necessarily. It was more a byproduct of the fact capitalism and colonialism go hand in hand, right? But what's interesting is in National AIM, so that's like the group Dennis Banks and Clyde Bellecourt and Vernon Bellecourt would be like the heads of. Vernon was a communist, like explicit communist, and they had a democratic centralist structure, and they definitely very much were wrestling with the realities of capitalism, sure, but due to their lack of focus, they end up becoming landlords. Not it. So like, it's unfortunate that they had this communist influence, but there was like Tanzania that still allowed people to be like, well, they're doing it differently there, so let's see what happens. And then like there's this repetition of what ends up becoming a failure. I mean, no offense to Tanzania, but like, we don't need Lakota socialism, right? We need socialism that pertains to the conditions specific to Lakota people as well as other people here. Like, does that make sense? Like, it's confusing to say, because like I'm also coming from Lakota are only one section of the Ochete Shakowin, which is already a broader political group. So when I look at what socialism with blank characteristics is, I'd say Ochete Shakowin, if anything, right? But like then that's just because of my own frame of reference. I'm not going to say the Anishinaabe people need to act like Ochete Shakowin, insert whatever federations. Can you hear that bell right now?
A little bit, to be honest, but not too bad. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. No one's going to pay attention to it. It's okay.
It's just so loud. I'm like, it's dude, holy shit. But so like it's we see a lot of different factions pop up, and like, so on the autonomous AIM side, you also have the Oklahoma group. And so the Oklahoma group's interesting because they bring a shit ton of communists with them to Wounded Knee. And these communists are all armed with guns, and they all leave once the gunfighting starts. But the Chicanos show up, and they have like 12 guns each and start passing them out. So like that, that was sick. But yeah, and there's a lot of cool little stories you can hear about inside the occupation in my documentary that's going to eventually come out. But we have like a lot of Marxist influenced groups all connected, and it's definitely a point that like the camps don't associate with the Dakota Denver group because of like this weird flirtation with Nazis that like was happening unchecked. It's not like these people were like hanging out or anything, but they were allowed to call themselves the American Indian Movement Nazis or whatever, like it, not a good look. And then you have like people like Russell Means, well, maybe the Aryan Brotherhood could be, a useful ally towards an end, and it's like, dude, you sound like the ACP. And so like and then you also have War on Women of All Red Nations, and so they notice all these dudes fighting and kind of overshadowing like the hard work of a lot of women, doing like the behind the scenes stuff, or even like taking their roles in like the Mayflower 2 protests early on, and then they're like, well, we can organize ourselves without you, man. Like, well, you keep fighting, we'll figure it out, don't worry. And then they organize like anti-nuclear stuff. Like they're one of the reasons we know about the cancer rates from well water on my reservation due to the radiation. About 10 years you will have stomach cancer if you drink the well water every day. you know. But with considerable hemp planting and sunflowers, you can pull out that radiation. And so that's like one way we use natural processes to take out poison from the soil just so we can live. It's so like on the land that we were working on, there's 40 acres of self-seeding hemp, a ton of sunflowers. Like it's one of the most beautiful things when you drive down to the land is you see all these sunflowers everywhere. And I named my son after that image in my head, and just the poetic and symbolic meanings behind what a sunflower means, the way they follow the sun, that they can pull the nuclear radiation from the Black Hills. It's sort of a prayer that I hope in the future he can use his sun dance to heal the Black Hills like a sunflower, and it's really deep and meaningful. And
No, I love that. Yeah. I mean, I'm a father too, so it's those types of thoughts I think really resonate with me. So I thank you for sharing that. That's special,
Well, right, and like family is such like an important thing as to why I'm even here on your show talking today. It's because in all these things that they're organizing, they act as the liaison between the Iranian revolutionaries and the U.S. government during the Carter hostage crisis. John Thompson did that. Thomas, not Thompson, but John Thomas does that, and it's what the Iranians only trusted AIM. What? Like, make it make sense. I don't know. Didn't other AIM people try to smuggle gun anyway? Like, it's so confusing. But like my grandma and my mom, like my mom writes the youth charter for the Denver, Dakota AIM youth chapter. Well, whatever they're called, youth section. But she wrote their charter, and then when she was like 14 or something, like right around when my brother would have been born, and then different dad, but then they're like some of the primary organizers behind ending Columbus Day in Denver back in the 90s, and then Russell Means takes all the credit in the newspapers and stuff like that, and then does a literal witch hunt on my grandma and gets her banned off the reservation. A literal witch hunt. Called her a witch. Look, I have the recordings.
The literal witch hunt is pretty, in the 1990s, is pretty astounding. That's Russell Means, one of a kind, legend, right? That's why I started the show with him. I felt like he's such an infamous figure. Like, you got to start with him in a way.
I loved it.